Good morning, Brooks.
Good morning.
Not a lot of energy out of you today.
I genuinely I don't remember the last time I felt this sick. Like I feel horrible right now. So I also talked for like 48 hours straight, so I've lost my voice completely.
Damn. All right. Well, welcome to the show.
Well,
Um,
baby, let's go.
we'll see if we can do our best to keep you keep you well rested this evening or this morning, I guess. We'll just jump right into it. How about that?
Welcome to the greatest podcast on earth. Nothing agreed. We have a great show for you tonight, so stay tuned and buckle up.
Yo, yo, yo! Welcome back to another episode of Nothing Agreed. Back with the boys today, Barron.
What's
It
up?
is early Saturday morning.
Quite
You
early.
you quite early waker. Um,
Oh no. Yeah, this is a bad idea. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know you were
fast.
sick. Um,
This will be fun. It will be good memories when we do this. It is
12, 12 p.m. at night turned into 3 a.m. in the morning. So here I am.
it was a nice little 2 a.m. action for me too. So, and I could not fall asleep. So
Yeah, I bet.
yeah,
So we're gonna keep this one short and as sweet as we can. Um,
it is like the worst conditions ever for a podcast.
so yeah. I mean, you're sick as hell. I'm trying to stay awake by chewing this fucking caffeine gum over
Should we
here.
even do a podcast?
Now we should. We're gonna power through.
Let's do it, baby. This is the
um,
most, this is the most scuffed podcast I've ever seen.
that's why
Holy
it's gonna
crap!
go down in the history books. Anyway, we're gonna talk about some sports. No more introductions. We all know the situation going on. Brooks, yesterday, late in the afternoon. Actually, when it was like 30 minutes before we were originally supposed to record. The Minnesota Vikings have parted ways with their general manager. Um, I bring that up. That's sort of the most recent sort of NFL domino to fall. I think a lot of people are kind of asking themselves why there wasn't a lot of smoke or fire about around this sort of position, and that it wasn't. No one really knew, I guess, how hot it really was, or at least nationally. Maybe internally in Minnesota they did. And yeah, I mean, you take a step back, it's not really unwarranted. Um, I'd like to make a joke. This is the second time Sam Darnold's gotten a general manager fired because I do think a lot of it comes back to the mismanaging of quarterback situation in the last couple of years. Probably not all of it, but I think that is probably a big chunk of it. Brooks, what do you think of all that?
I'm kind of surprised they fired their general manager. Remember because this is one bad year, and bad years one game under 500 with all the turmoil and everything that's happened. So I was surprised to see the news, but in a NFC North where this is probably the toughest division. I mean, all four teams are poised to be over 500 to say the least. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to take risks, and they took a risk right here. So let's see how it pays off. Maybe that decision for JJ and Sam really got them cooked. So
Yeah. I mean, I think if you just look back at it, I don't know if they've given an official reasoning or one official reasoning why his tenure with the Vikings was cut, but from the outside looking in, I would say, yeah, it's probably the idea to move on from Sam Darnold in favor of J.J. McCarthy. If any NFL fan from this season knows, Sam Darnold will be playing for a Super Bowl ring next week or next weekend, and J.J. McCarthy is ass. So yeah, why is I think maybe we do a quick if we get in his shoes, maybe why he wanted to get rid of Sam Darnold. Um, then I can also explain probably why that's a little wrong, but bear with me, right? So you have Sam Darnold on the 1 year deal. He has a great offensive season with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison when he gets back, and TJ Hawkinson. They all had great years last year. Vikings won 14 games, narrowly missed out on the 1 seed. Probably should have been able to hold on to that, but was not able to. Lost in the first round of the playoffs. And then in the offseason, they decided to let free agent Sam Darnold walk in favor of their rookie who had torn their ACL all of the previous year in J.J. McCarthy. And then, like I said, fast forward to this season, they just throw J.J. McCarthy out, and the first 2 games look fine. Then the next 2 games look like the worst performance I've ever seen an NFL quarterback give. And now we're just kind of slowly on this mediocrity train of good meh performance to horrible performance, and ultimately the Vikings just missed the playoffs altogether. They did finish with above 500 record, but they had to scrap and claw just to get that.
Ugh.
And then, yeah, like we said, Sam Darnold signed with the Seahawks. They won 14 games again, actually won the 1 seed this time, dominated in the playoffs, and are on their way to Santa Clara, or they're probably already there. So, yeah. How is that preventable, Brooks? In the future, I think you look at J.J. McCarthy, and I think you say, yeah, we have you. You were the guy for our future. But, I mean, if you're the Vikings, I feel like after the season Sam Darnold had for you, you just can't let that guy walk. Especially, and again, hindsight's 2020, right? We look back. Obviously, the team that went to the playoffs from the NFC North Division last season was the Lions. They didn't even make the playoffs this year. I think if the Vikings had competent QB play this season, I think they could have held with the Packers, probably even the Bears. So I think while hindsight is 2020, it can also be harming because I think that's another big thing. I think ownership takes a step back from the Vikings and be like, this is a season we could have competed for a Super Bowl probably. This is a season if we had Sam Darnold, we could be in the Super Bowl. So I think once all those questions start spiraling around your head and they can't get out of your head, someone's got to take the fall, and it's usually probably going to be the person that makes those decisions. And again, I think he probably had to have had a few other slip-ups or decisions he made that ownership didn't like, because I don't think he would get fired from just this one decision. But you never know, Brooks. Some of these decisions that you make in the NFL can be damning, and all it takes is one. Very dangerous. So, interesting situation there. Any other thoughts you'd like to add?
I just want to see what the Vikings kind of do to retool this roster. That's what they need to fire GM for, because I guess it's kind of saying even in that tough division, we should be out there, like you're saying, and competing with the best. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see who they bring in, how they want to handle the roster, if they want to retool or rebuild. And other big, I guess, coaching management roles, the Eagles have finally hired their offensive coordinator.
You just want to take the floor, big dog.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to, but before
Just
I
take
get
forward.
into that,
Yeah.
are there any others I'm forgetting about?
The
The Browns
Ravens.
hired Todd Monken as their head coach.
The
Yes,
Ravens.
that's the next one I wanted to talk. We talked about Jesse Mentor last episode.
No, the Ravens got their offensive coordinator.
Oh yeah. Remind me, I forget who it was.
They got the Bears offensive coordinator, and they just straight flopped, like took him like
Oh yeah,
offensive coordinator, offensive
I
coordinator,
saw that.
because he has play calling duties now. He did not have it in Chicago.
So yeah, we'll see how that works out. Obviously, probably the first guy coming out of the Ben Johnson system. We'll see how that tree kind of establishes itself in the league. I think the Ravens feel pretty good about that. Giants offensive coordinator job is still open. I've heard buzz that Cliff Kingsbury is circling around that job right now. So that's definitely something to monitor. And I guess the last really unknown head coaching role that we don't know is the Raiders.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people assume the fact that they aren't really publicly interviewing anyone anymore, or just are kind of staying out of the national attention when it comes to the hiring process. I think everyone believes that they are going to push very hard for Clint Kubiak once he becomes available. I think that's what everyone assumes. But part of me thinks, Brooks, the whole reason Cliff Kingsbury has not really come up a lot in these conversations recently, I think he might be secretly in that running as well. I don't know. Again, I don't think they've really publicly announced much traction about that, but I could see why Vegas ownership, especially a guy like Tom Brady, would want to get a guy like Cliff Kingsbury in the room for their young coming quarterback coming in, Fernando Mendoza. So, yeah, that could be a dark horse for that job possibly. But we'll bring it all back around. Briefly on the Todd Monken for the Browns. How excited are you for that?
Honestly, holy crap.
Bless you.
That's how I feel about Todd Monken right here. I'm choking on the idea because it's not my favorite. Personally, not my go-to for big like best hire. Um, and I think it's gonna flop ultimately. I didn't like him when he got hired. I felt like it was more of a poach this guy because he has a little bit of traction around his name, but still, I don't see a world where Todd Monken should be a full time head football coach. So I don't personally like the move. Also, I love Twitter because you know me how much I love talking about Twitter.
Yep.
And some person brought up his old like tweets, and it was did you see this or no?
Mm-mm.
And he tweeted out like, "Why does everybody hate Donald Trump? The Electoral College have voted him in," or something like that. Like,
Perfect.
let me see if I can find the exact words. Um,
All right. Well, you're doing that.
I'm gonna find it in the first search. Don't worry.
Okay.
It was blowing up.
Was it?
So
All right.
it
Well,
was literally everyone was like posting it. It was so funny. Don't get the Trump hatred. All the man did was run for office, and the Electoral College voted him. Is that his fault? Don't think so.
well. I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
that's a good one though. That's the all-timer.
Todd Monken, former UGA guy as well. So
Oh wow. Did he coach under Kirby Smart?
offense coordinator.
Well, all right. Well, so he's definitely got some experience for sure.
Yeah.
I like this for him. It's obviously a step up from offensive coordinator role to a head coaching role, but again, I think going to the Browns is a very low pressure environment. You probably get at least 2 to 3 years leniency because again, it's the Browns. They never expect to be good. So, but yeah, I think, and again, I feel like I say this about a lot of coaches, and I'm always wrong, but I'm optimistic about what he can do. Um, he's got a young guys on his offense to work with. For whatever reason, he really likes Shadur Sanders. I don't know. Have you seen that one clip that he's like, "Oh, I really wanted to draft you on the Ravens." So I mean, maybe he's seeing something we don't see, Brooks, or maybe we're just going to be following the blind. But
He's
yeah,
trying to instill confidence in his franchise quarterback.
yeah. I mean, there were, but I mean, how true is that? Do you remember there were rumors that the
Yeah, no, the
Ravens?
Ravens. No, the Ravens did want to draft him actually,
Yeah,
but he said Shadur said no.
yeah,
Remember that?
yeah, yeah. No,
Like,
I do remember
he
that.
want to be like some career perennial backup, and he bet on himself. And look at me now, you know.
Yeah, Pro Bowl super or quarterback right there.
Yep. So is
Um,
Joe Flacco.
and Jalen Hurts.
I know. Jalen Hurts might be the worst of those three.
All right, shut the fuck up.
Dude,
Um,
I was. Hold up, a little sidetrack here.
no, that's fine.
Um,
I was shocked.
I was taking an absolute beating yesterday because I was defending Jalen Hurts' name.
Oh boy.
Um, it was about a 1v6, and everyone was talking about how Jalen Hurts is not a good quarterback, and it wasn't just the offensive coordinator's fault. You have to look at Jalen Hurts in the games and how he has like 0 passing yards in the second half,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, yeah, we're talking about a guy who's thrown for the most yards in Super Bowl history, who's been in the big game twice, perennial winner throughout his entire career. They're like, look at the weapons. He has the best running back in the league, best
Mm-hmm.
wide receiver core, da 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 da. And I was like, he was doing this since his rookie year. Like, this is not a surprise. And talking about some like, yeah, he has the best running back in the league, best wide receiver, like 2-0 in the league. I'm like, yeah, if his offensive coordinator wasn't putting AJ Brown on a curl route for fucking 10 yards and putting Devontae Smith on everything that AJ Brown should be doing, and Saquon Barkley immediately got hit in the backfield every time, then maybe Jalen Hurts would have had a little more time to do shit.
Yeah,
So I was like,
number one running back in the league, didn't make a Pro Bowl, by the way, or an All
yeah.
Pro.
They
Best
were
wide
talking about some
receiver
running.
duo in the league, also no Pro Bowl or All
Yeah, they're
Pro,
talking
by
about
the
some
way.
number one wide receiver or one running back in the league, and I was like, no, and they all go, who is it? I'm like, Bijan.
Actually, you know who did have the number one running back in the league this year?
The Bills.
Yep, Josh Allen. Wow. Anyway, we're not gonna get into that debate again,
No, we're
and
not.
all
We're
those
not.
people will be proven wrong.
I
Don't
want to
worry,
sidetrack a little bit
because we've got the man in Philadelphia now.
Go
and
ahead.
Readjust on the sidebar. I'm proud of you. Good job, Brooks.
Thank you.
Standing your ground for being correct too. They hate you because you're right. Anyway,
Yeah, facts.
I think it's racism at this point, but we'll leave that out of it. Anyway, the man in Philadelphia. Let's get it. Sean Mann, right? Now, Brooks, you know when this first happened, I wouldn't say upset. I was just more confused. I was really curious about what a quarterback's coach would do for the Philadelphia Eagles at this point in time after they came out and said that they were going to be looking for established play callers so that we could get right back on track as a team. Then all the established play callers got offers for other teams. So then we all thought, well, they just don't want to come play in Philadelphia because either A, fans will egg their house if they suck, B, everyone in the media is telling them to stay away because of the fans and the quarterback, or C, everyone thinks their best offensive weapon or one of their best offensive weapons would be leaving. Turns out none of those were the case. It's just the fact that the Eagles weren't offering anyone the offensive coordinator role. Other teams were, and the Eagles weren't. So I don't know what was really going on. They wanted to be thorough, and they feel like they have their guy. Like I said, Sean Mannon, the Green Bay Packers coach, or quarterbacks coach. And then I was having a discussion the other day or I guess it was yesterday, with one of my buddies who's an Eagles fan. And he's a lot more enthusiastic about the hire than I am. So I was like, well, I mean, I'm enthusiastic. Like, I hope he can be good. Everyone's telling me that he's going to be a good coach in the league one day, and that's what all these other officials are saying, or other coaches and such. But I was like, well, what has he kind of done to like prove himself at all? And he's like, oh, he was there for Jordan Love's development. But I don't know if you can really credit him with Jordan Love's development. I'll give him full credit for the fact that Malik Willis is about to probably get a starting contract offer this season or this offseason. Because he's been there the entire time Malik Willis has been there. And we know Malik Willis went into Green Bay, tail between his legs, looking like he was going to become a career backup. It was over. And now he's leaving Green Bay, probably going to go to the New York Jets. And if he doesn't stink it up, might get in a second contract. So I'm excited for that. I think it's clear that he knows how to play quarterback. I think this will be great for Jalen Hurts because I think the things that he brings to an offense in terms of pre-snap timing, pre-snap reads, all that good stuff is kind of the things that Jalen Hurts isn't great at. So sort of strengthening his flaws. And if you can hide Jalen Hurts' flaws, then he's going to look like he did a few years ago, which is the second best quarterback in the league. So I'm excited, optimistically excited. Obviously, they got Josh Gizzard in there too as the run game or the pass game coordinator. I kind of like to think of this as a tandem hire. I think because they're going to have, I think the two of them and Sirianni are going to be the big three in terms of offensive planning and scheming. And I think Gizzard's also more of a safety net in case Mannon's play calling doesn't work out. Gizzard does have some experience, so they can easily just give duties to him if something needs to be changed. And the kind of last point I want to make about the Eagles, and we'll move on, is there was a lot of traction, I would say, early this week before Manning got hired between Eagles fans that at this point, let's just let Nick Sirianni call plays because it's a win-win, right? He has some experience. This is basically his offense. He should be the most familiar with it, so he could probably unlock the most out of it. That's one hand. The other side is he shits the bed, gets fired, and then we get an actual play calling coach in the building and see where we go from there. I was actually a big fan of that idea. I actually don't really mind Nick Sirianni calling plays. I know he's not great at managing a game and play calling, but it's certainly not offensive play calling like I've seen some years from Eagles coordinators. So I'm just happy it's all settled. Like I said, optimistic for what's to come. I have a lot of faith in Howie Roseman and the people he's putting his trust into. So yeah, we will see what happens.
I don't. I just can't really grade the hire because some of the other offensive coordinators we've seen them in action, so I'm excited to see this one. But
Yeah, you
I
really
saw
can't.
what's up.
I said you really can't.
Yeah, I will say this though, very interesting. Is it since 2017? Jalen Hurts had a new offensive coordinator every single year, so I think it's interesting that this becomes just in terms of history with Jalen Hurts and I guess the NFL too, because the NFL's been every year. This is either a platform job or this is a downfall job. Either going to platform to something big or you're going to fall off.
And
So, and
that's kind of
I
my
think that's how
hope.
it's going to be though. I think that's how
Yeah,
it's going to be.
but that's also kind of the hope with I guess getting a quarterbacks coach is even if he has an amazing play calling season, it'll probably take at least maybe one or two more before he gets a sort of head coach offer, if anything. So I do think with this hire, there will be at least a 2 year, some 2 year consistency. I don't think, again, even if somehow we win the Super Bowl next year, I don't think he would get poached that fast. But who knows? Maybe we do. That's sort of the pattern that's been happening these last few years. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But that's probably the idea is if Manning has a great season, gets plucked from us immediately, then they probably just promote Gizzard right away. So to me, it seems like there's a plan in place, a long-term plan with both of these hires, and that just makes me feel confident, and very happy because it was kind of dark there for a few months, but we'll move right on.
I think we should talk about the Ravens.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about the Ravens?
The reason I want to talk about the Ravens is because they hired Declan Doyle, who's the offensive coordinator for the Bears. But the most significant thing about Declan Doyle, Barry, you know what that is? His age.
Hmm.
He is 29 years old. Youngest coach going to be in kind of position, any big position. And he's the same age as his quarterback, Lamar Jackson, both 29 years old. So the Ravens are really taking a big swing here at a young guy. I just want to ask you, although he didn't call the plays last year for the Bears, he's under now, like you said, the Ben Johnson tree. Do you think this is a risk the Ravens should be taking? Or do you think they should have went with someone who's a little more, veteran like when you're trying to push for a Super Bowl?
Again, I can't really say much when my team just kind of did the exact same thing. Not really in terms of age, perhaps, but yeah. I mean, at some point, you just gotta take a step back and be like, what's the best thing available for me at this point in time? Obviously, we had a huge coaching turnover this offseason. In fact, I think it's one of the biggest we've had in a long time, just in terms of every single coordinator, head coach, even lower coordinator roles. So, and you look at the timeline, right? By the time the Ravens get their head coach, right? Not even their offensive coordinator. By the time the Ravens get their head coach and Jesse Minter, most of the elite offensive play callers have been taken off the board. And I don't really think the Ravens were looking for an offensive coordinator before they get their head coach. So yeah, no, this is a very interesting hire. I'm curious to why they thought this was the best available at this point. Again, Cliff Kingsbury is still not under contract by anyone. And I did not hear any public reports that they were talking to him either. So, yeah, definitely interesting. Again, they must see something that we don't at this point in time. Yeah, but yeah, no, you're definitely right. It is a risk for sure because, yeah, young guy, and like we see with the Ravens, right? Look in their division, Bengals. We're gonna wait for the offseason, but we do not know what that team will look like next season. Who will even be on it? Steelers. If it's Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers and the big 2-6, I don't think you need to worry about the Steelers. And the Browns. the Browns again, unless Todd
Thank you.
Monken, unless Todd
No,
Monken
finally,
turns
yes.
into Kyle Shanahan, they're not going to be
Thank you.
competitive immediately. But I mean, yeah, you got to give them a few years. It's a young team. But yeah, for the Ravens, they're the most win now team in that division. So this is a little concerning. Maybe they don't feel as much divisional pressure from their rivals, so they have some room to breathe when it comes to this coaching hire. But yeah, I'm just very intrigued, like you said.
All right, there you go.
Ready to move on?
Ready to move on.
Because it's time for our report cards. Not really, but we're going to look at your 5 biggest winners from the season, and then my 5 biggest winners from the season, or however that works, and then our biggest losers from the season, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you didn't make it to the Super Bowl that you're a loser, or the fact that you didn't make the playoffs mean that you're not a winner. We just needed to see some growth. We needed to see something that makes us feel optimistic about your future moving forward. And again, this is all based on the in-season results. Nothing from the off-season has sort of influenced my decisioning, at least. But yeah, you want me to just go ahead and go? I got mine down. I don't know if you want to say anything or not, but
I have mine.
All
So I
right.
have mine.
All right. Well,
How do you want to format this? Do you want to format as in like if you say one and I agree, I should butt in? Is it like, or should we
I'm
have
gonna
our
go
own
through my
poll?
5 winners. Then I'm gonna hand it over to you. See
Okay.
if you can add, deselect, give your reasoning for whatever, and then I'll take it back over, give my reasoning, and we'll move on to the
Okay.
losers. You ready? So, my 5 biggest winners, right? Number 1 and 2 should not be that hard. For me, I have the Seahawks and the Patriots.
Oh.
Normally, I wouldn't put the 2 teams in the Super Bowl and the 5 winners, but I think these were 2 teams that did not have big Super Bowl aspirations coming into the season. And yeah, ultimately found their way at the biggest stage. So I'm going to give them the nod. My next biggest winner, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. They took a big swing in this year's draft. Despite Travis Hunter getting injured, I do think as a whole it worked. Liam Cohen and his staff seem to have come in and done a seamless job in the transition. 14-win team this year. Unfortunate playoff performance. They will be back there next year. Super excited for the future of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The next team I had was the Chicago Bears. First-time head coach Ben Johnson, taking his quarterback Caleb Williams. Did he throw for over 4,000 yards? I don't think I remember seeing that. No,
Nope.
not quite. It'll happen one day probably, but not this year.
I think he
But
was
they
short
did.
by like 120 or something.
No, wow. They did win their division. That was a huge thing. Hosted a playoff game. Hosted 2 playoff games actually. They won one. And yeah, I really don't think how you can't put the Bears here based on where they've been the past couple seasons. They're definitely one of this year's winners. And then the last 2, I'm kind of torn on. The last 2 I have Saints and Panthers. I want to give the nod to the Panthers because they made the playoffs, won their division. Again, a team that was last place in that division or second to last place last year, or one of the bottom 5 teams as a whole, made the playoffs. That's pretty impressive. But I also want to give a big shout out to the Saints, mainly because going into the season, I don't think anyone believed in Tyler Shutt. They were starting Spencer Rattler at quarterback, and it looked like they were just going to start offloading all their talent. And Kellen Moore still found a way to make this a competitive team within their division. They looked really good. Tyler Shutt is a legit Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate. And yeah, I couldn't really decide, but I'm going to give the nod to the Panthers for those 5.
All right. Well, I only have one that's different. So what I will do is I will pluck away the Super Bowl teams from mine
Perfect.
because I don't want to say that's a cop out because you're right. That are the biggest winners, and we're not even talking about these teams were barely projected to be even close to the Super Bowl. So this isn't just like they beat the Super Bowl, so they're automatically the winners. You know?
Yeah. It'd be like saying,
Um,
like, I wouldn't put them up there if it was like the Chiefs and the Eagles again, because those are the
yeah,
favored teams coming into the season.
agreed, exactly. So I'll pluck away those 2 teams, and I'll take 3 other winners, in my opinion. Um, I was gonna say I love the Bears pick. That was one that I think was really high. Same with the Jags. One team you didn't show love, but I thought should have got a little more love. The Denver Broncos. I thought were a really big winner this year. Number one seed in the AFC, and they were 3 points away from going to the Super Bowl. We don't talk about that either. They weren't favorites to win the AFC West either. They were the third favorite to win the AFC West. They won the entire conference outright. And I think Bo Nix shows you that he didn't have to be a top quarterback in the league, but they're winning with him there. So that's what matters most. You have a very solid defensive core. I think the Broncos, to me, are probably one of my season's biggest winners. And you can look at the regular season record, but in my opinion, still 3 points off of a Super Bowl appearance. And I think if the weather doesn't go like that, I think they do make a Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Yeah, easily very good shout. I would put them there, but I think in terms of the start of this season, when you looked at who they had on that roster, especially on that defensive side of the ball, I don't think it was completely out of the realm of possibility to see them in the situation they were in. I don't think anyone expected the offense to play as well as it did. A quick little sidebar, bringing it back to the coaching, but the Broncos also fired their offensive coordinator, and a lot of people are wondering why. And it's definitely to keep their QB coach, Davis Webb, in-house. He was a guy that was getting a lot of offensive coordinator looks, and he was deemed the guy or the next great offensive coordinator, kind of. So very smart by Sean Payton I'm assuming they're just going to promote him to the new offensive coordinator, and that would be a very smart idea. So yeah, very excited to see what the Broncos can do next year. Do you have any more winners that you wanted to shout out?
Yeah, I have two more winners. Now, for me, it could be very easy to give the winners to teams that have winning records. If you have a losing record, it's hard to be like, you're a winner. But you kind of went the direction I was going to go with, and I want to go with a very controversial winner here.
Let's hear it.
And it might be also because of what has happened so far in the offseason.
Okay.
But I'm going to take the future of the New York Football Giants. I think that was a very big win this season. A team that has really been looking for their franchise quarterback since Eli Manning, a team that, Malik Neighbors really broke out, but they still have that wide receiver, Cam Scatabo, right? That defensive line, a lot of young names on the defensive line except for Dexter Lawrence. But this team is starting to find traction a little bit. And I think when you're talking about teams that may make a push next season, sometimes you have to look at this season, although you didn't have the best record. We're talking about winning football seasons, finding your identity. I think the New York Football Giants have to be a sneak up on my list.
Okay.
This was, to me, in terms of the win-loss record, it doesn't look good. Mm-hmm. But in terms of, okay, I think we found our guys for next year to make our first kind of surge at action and with a top pick too. I think New York is a good place to look at for the Giants, not the Jets, but for the Giants. So,
well, they got some internal issues they need to resolve first. Did you see yesterday?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how much that's a distraction in the building. We'll see how long it is before he sells. And for anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, basically, yesterday it came out that one of the Giants' co-owners' name is in the Jeffrey Epstein files. So, yeah, it's probably not going to be too good for him in terms of the public eye, especially being in the state of New York. Yeah, so I'm sure we'll see a sale announcement in the coming weeks, and hopefully that messiness stays away from the actual on-field product, but you can't just write that off. That's going to be in the building all season, or for a while at least. So all off season, we'll have to see how that affects the Giants. But I do love the shout. Yes, taking off season considerations into effect, John Harbaugh's great. If they get Cliff Kingsbury on that staff as well, then yeah, that's a problem.
That's what I'm not trying to take it into effect, but I'm just talking about if you look at just this season in general. I think you really found your pieces. I think you really did.
Now, it's just a way of life at this point in the NFL. One of these rookie quarterbacks who had an explosive, amazing first season is just doomed to slump. So will it be Jackson Dart? Will it be Tyler Shutt? I can't even think of another rookie quarterback that even played well
Shadur.
this season. I don't even know if he played well. So
He's a Pro Bowler.
all
Those
right,
two
maybe
aren't.
it's Shadur. We don't know. It might be one of those three, but we just don't know yet. It's a rule of law at this point. So
Yeah. I'm looking at my fifth team, and
hmm
part of me wants to. There's a couple teams I want to throw out there and be like, yeah, they had a good season, but I don't want to copy you. I think the Saints are a winner this season, especially the second half of the season,
yeah,
just because again, you found your guy, your piece, and it looks like you're gonna be better in the future. Um, that's what I'm thinking
oh
about
yeah,
it.
that's what I was thinking too.
Um, I mean, if I had to shout out one other winner, it'd probably be. I don't even like this team as a winner, to be honest.
I can give one more shout. And it's gonna really hurt me to say this, but I'll give the 49ers some love.
No, I don't want to say the 49ers. We can talk about them being winners this season. I was thinking about that,
I think
but
they're winners in terms of team morale. That's
I
the
was
only
gonna say
way
the
I get
reason
it.
I would pick them to be winners this season is if yeah, I'll pick them as winners. This is my logic. I don't think the Niners are gonna be that good this next year, in my
Mm.
opinion.
I think they're gonna
But
start
from
trading
what
next season.
from what has happened to them this season and all the adversity, we can talk about the adversity being all the defensive injuries, not the adversity being and you're not only me saying this, but Brock Purdy being hurt and Mac Jones having to start and still winning many, many football games, knocking off your Eagles on the road. I know you don't really count that as a big victory, but to me, that is a big victory to beat a
No,
team on the road in the playoffs, especially at the bank.
I know it's impressive for
The
sure,
link,
but
um, yeah, the link, big win. So yeah, I was thinking about the Niners. I was back and forth on them, but I'll take the Niners. To the
all right.
Niners, one of my winners.
Well, now we can move on to the losers. Again, my first two really aren't easy. Number one is the Chiefs. Not much
Those are easy.
explanation there. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
much explanation there. Obviously, a team with Super Bowl aspirations year in and year out failed to even make the postseason altogether. See what their team looks like next year. Number two, again, no surprise, Eagles. This was a Super Bowl caliber roster that was wasted on, honestly, the worst coaching across any sport I've ever seen or played, period, in my life. My fifth grade rec basketball coach was a better coach than Kevin Patullo. Number three, I have the Dolphins. Again, this was a team that I've been down on all season, and ultimately, what I thought would happen happened. And this is a
Not,
team
hey,
that is
not
an
true. Not true.
hmm?
Not true.
What's not true?
I've been doing some researching and some background. I thought for our next episode we
Mm-hmm.
would I've been taking our old videos
Oh
and
God.
going through them and compiling some of our takes.
Oh fuck.
And
Okay.
you were right about the Dolphins not being good, but number one pick in the NFL draft did not happen. And they're not even close to number one pick in the NFL
Yeah,
draft.
you're right.
So I have to give you
Well,
a
it's not
little
my fault. They decided to start winning after they realized that they were still bad.
they pulled the Atlanta
Again,
Falcons.
most teams, most serious. Again, when I come back to this topic, most serious franchises, when they realize that their season is over by week 6, they just start losing to put themselves in a better draft position. Again, Dolphins are not a serious franchise. All they care about is making money. So they don't give a fuck how bad their team is. As long as they're selling tickets, that team, they're gonna want that team to play well. So that again, difference in ownership. If they were a smart owner, if they were a smart organization, they would have the first overall pick and they would be selecting Fernando Mendoza. But no, they're not. They're stupid, and they just wanted to make a couple extra $1 million this season rather than a couple extra $100 million down the line. Anyway,
There you go.
yes, Dolphins are one of my losers. Next, this one's kind of hard to put here because it was mainly injuries that kind of debarred their season, but I do have the Colts.
Okay.
Again, I think losing Daniel Jones was big. I put them as a loser because again, hindsight 2020, I hate the entire Phillip Rivers situation looking back at it. And I think week 18 was a big showing of that. Riley Leonard easily showed that he could have been quarterback during any of those games. I will die on the hill. The Colts beat the Seahawks. I think it was week 15, week 16, if Riley Leonard was playing that game instead of Phillip Rivers. And they might have beaten the 49ers the following week if they had. Riley Leonard instead of
No,
Phillip Rivers?
no.
Okay, Brook says no.
Remember Phillip Rivers threw 4 touchdown passes that game at like 250 yards?
No, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, he had 3 touchdown passes in the first half against the Niners. That was the
Okay,
shootout game.
how many air yards were there?
I don't care what air yards are.
Exactly. Again, if
He
Phillip
threw like a
Rivers can
30
throw
touchdown pass
70-yard
to
checkdowns for a
Alec Pierce.
touchdown, again, no, my point is if Phillip Rivers can throw 70-yard checkdown touchdowns, so can Riley Leonard.
They weren't checked down. He threw a 30-yard touchdown to Alec Pierce in the end zone, post route.
Oh, okay. I did see that one. But again, I still think Riley Leonard can do that. Like, again, there's nothing that 44-year-old Phillip Rivers can do on that field that Riley Leonard cannot do. I get bringing Phillip Rivers into the building to help coach Riley Leonard, be a guy in the locker room and on the practice field, standing next to him, helping him learn how to play quarterback. But to throw that out on the field when you're competing for the playoffs, yeah, that was the worst show I've seen in a long time. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, I have the Colts in my losers category just because of that. And then my last loser, although I might want to add another one, is the Lions. Again, kind of injuries derailing their defensive side of the ball, but you can't really exclude injuries for their offensive performance. Obviously, their head offensive coordinator got fired. Dan Campbell took back play calling duties, but I mean, this is a Lions offense that I think it was like once after week 14 just did not look good. They were fumbling. Jared Goff was throwing multiple picks a game. And they would get all the way to the red zone just to give the ball up right then and there, whether it's an interception, fumble, or just a turnover on downs. So I think while defensively, yes, you can look at their struggles to injuries. I think offensively, the Lions, I think they just fell apart. Whether that's coaching, personnel, what you want to say, but they missed the playoffs after Super Bowl aspirations. Got to put them in my losers. How much longer does Jared Goff have? That's the question.
Barron, I like this. I like this because we're a little bit different on our losers here. We're a little bit different. So I like this. I'm going to say first team I want to shout out as one of my losers. I'm going to give it to just a layup here. The Arizona Cardinals. I think the Arizona Cardinals are one of my biggest losers. We're talking about this season. We're talking about the future as well, combining this. But 3-14 this season, horrible football team, right? It was Jacoby Brissett season this year. This team just has no backbone. It really doesn't. You can't. There's nobody on this team. It was supposed to be Marvin Harrison, and I still think Trey McBride. There's nobody on the team, maybe minus Trey McBride, that you look at and you go, that's the backbone of my franchise. And for it to be a tight end is always, nah.
I bet he gets shot this season.
That's what I was about to say. I just think he's not someone you're going to look at. That's not a 10-year guy. That's not an 8-year guy. That's not even a 6-year guy, right? This is somebody that might get moved in the next 2 years. And the Cardinals have no backbone. They have no baseline, right? Their head coach is gone. It really just, this team has nothing. The team gave nothing a future hope for me this season. I think they're going to be really bad next year. You're tied up in the Kyler Murray situation the entire season. I really don't like the Arizona Cardinals. Not only this season, they're to me one of my biggest losers, but in the future in general, they're going to be, I think, really bad the next couple of years.
Fair enough.
I want to stray away from all of your losers because some of them I agree with. I don't know if I have them on my list. For example, I would have the Lions on my list. I wouldn't put the Colts, the Eagles, or the Dolphins on my list.
Okay.
Second team I want to put on my losers list, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think, are a loser this season. We're talking about a team that was the favorite to win the NFC South. I was debating about the Atlanta Falcons too, but they were technically in over/under 7.5 wins this year. The Bucs were 9.5, and although they missed that, you lost the division in a losing division. You lost the division in a division that had the Saints, who were supposed to be really bad this year, which honestly they weren't great, but they have flashes. The Panthers, who have been kind of the stepping stone this entire time in the NFC South, minus when they play the Falcons. And the Falcons has just been a team that has consistently underperformed, and honestly was a team that was supposed to finish around 9-8 or 8-9. So all you do is maybe finish 9-8 and you win the division. You can't even do that. You have a big second half collapse. How much of that is off Baker Mayfield getting injured? I don't want to say, don't know, but the fall off was tremendous. He went from MVP favorite to where I was getting threats for not calling him the MVP, getting death threats in our mentions, Baron, in our comments, to then him being absolute trash. I'm gonna put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on here. Also, you are allowed to interrupt me whenever you want if you want to jump in, make points,
Oh, that's fine.
but I'm
Bring
on a
you up.
roll right now.
Yeah, keep going.
Um, I would not call the Colts a loser just because of the injury situation. I will agree. I think the Chiefs are probably the easiest loser to look at, coming from a team that was in the Super Bowl last season, that has been perennial Super Bowl contenders, appearances, to go from that to 6-11, um, and just get dog walked by many teams. Not a good look. But I'm gonna throw them in there. I've thrown the Cardinals. I've thrown the Buccaneers. I've thrown the Chiefs. I don't think I've said this team yet, and they're to me one of my biggest losers this year. I'm gonna take the Cincinnati Bengals. And the reason why I do that, let me give my reasonings a little bit. I actually am giving the Cincinnati Bengals a little bit of a pass here with Joe Burrow getting injured. But to me, some of the games they lost when he was not there are still inexcusable. And to me, they're the biggest loser because of their defense. Their defense gave up the third most points in the league this year. Their defense looked like you could take any team that was having a bad year and give them it was a confidence boost week. Biggest one being the New York Jets. I mean, look at the Justin Fields performances, but when he wasn't playing the Bengals and when he did play the Bengals. Look at some other quarterbacks when they didn't play, and then they play the Bengals. The other two teams that gave up the most points in the league this year, the Bengals gave up 492. The other two teams that gave up more than that was over 500, which was the Dallas Cowboys at 511, and it was the New York Jets at 503. And the only reason the Cowboys were even in this season is because of their offense, so I can't put them in a loser. It was just straight bad from a team that, again, an AFC North team that was hopeful for winning this division. So I have the Bengals as one of my losers. Finally,
Don't hate that.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't hate that. The only reason
Oh.
I wouldn't really put them there is because, again, when I look at them at the start of the season, and then look at them now, I'm not shocked. That's my only reasoning. But yeah,
Baron,
sorry,
I
you
think
finish.
you're going to have the same reasoning for this football team, but I have to put it just because of the key position, where they were and where they're now. And to me, I'm going to have to put the Commanders on this list. I have to, right? We talked about this all year, and we agreed this Commanders team is old and their window is closing. But
Yeah.
closed,
No, it's closed.
just not
But
for
now,
Super Bowl, not for Super Bowl in my opinion, but for playoffs, closed was not on my books. And this
okay,
team
like,
was
that's what-
really, really bad. And even here's why I have them as a loser, Baron.
Mhm.
If the Commanders finished 5-12 later this year, but Jaden Daniels played well when he was healthy, I would have them not as a loser because I would totally be like, you know what, that's okay. But even when Jaden Daniels was playing, he didn't look that good. He didn't look like the Jaden Daniels we saw last year.
I'm telling you, it's that every year. There's a rookie
So-
quarterback who will play amazing, and then that's it. We've seen it with
And then they
C.J. Stroud. We're starting to see it with Jaden Daniels. I'm telling you, we just gotta wait and see who it is next season. Is it
Again,
Dart? It's one of those two. I'm telling you. I'm just telling
Another
you, Shadur
team-
Sanders didn't have a good enough season to qualify for this curse.
Another team that was one of the worst defenses in the league, but also one of the lower subpar offenses in the league, even with Jaden Daniels there. So I have to put the Commanders. It got to the point where they had to fire almost everyone but the head coach. It's gotten to the point where we're seeing a lot of talks now. And honestly, even let's just talk about if I'm giving the loser this season, I don't know what next season looks like for Washington. They're the biggest question mark to me. But if I had to pick a card, I'm picking lower instead of higher. So not in terms of just wins this season compared to next season, but I'm talking about if I had them going 9-8 or 8-9, the win or loss side, I'm picking the loss side. So I'm picking the Commanders as one of my losers this season.
I don't hate that. Yeah, I mean, we'll stay away from the defense. All you need to know about that is it's the oldest defense in the league.
Yeah.
Um, in case also a little fun fact, because not a lot of people know this, but in case you're wondering, Von Miller is actually still in the NFL. He's on the Commanders. Shocker, right? So yeah, we got the retirement home over there in Washington. Well, let's look at the offense for the Commanders, right? Because I feel like this isn't talked about a lot. Before he gets injured, Austin Eckler is your starting running back. How old is he? 32, something like that.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
31, 32.
he's
He's
old.
at the wit's end of his career.
Yeah. Before he gets injured, Zach Ertz is your starting tight end. He's what, 35, 36, something in that range. Yeah, again, he won a Super Bowl in 2018. He's old. Then you look at both of your outside guys. You got Scary
World.
Terry McLaurin, who, albeit, is a good receiver, but he's getting up there in age. And then you look on the other side, and you got fat ass himself, Debo Samuel, who can't even run deep anymore. He's just a glorified, here you go, jet pass, put the wide receiver in the backfield at this point,
He's
guy.
a fat gadget player.
Exactly. But again, I mean, Jaden Daniels is probably the youngest player on that team by 6 years. So, and again, we've talked about this, right? What do you do when your entire team is aging out, but your quarterback is super young? Do you? Because again, you have to keep Jaden Daniels happy while you're. I mean, essentially, Brooks, this is a rebuild, right? You're not retooling around one player. This is essentially a rebuild. But by the time you're probably done with your rebuild, Jaden Daniels might be 28, 29. Like that's kind of the problem with this situation is by the time you've offload all these old guys and you finally turn it around, you have your new young team and you're ready to compete for a Super Bowl. Jaden Daniels might not be able to scramble the same way. That dual threat ability might be gone. He might not even be in the league. We don't know what his career might be. He might not even be in Washington. He might get sick of waiting for this team to be ready. He might want to go to a win now situation. So that's why, dude, as hard as it is, I'm having these tough conversations about what Jaden Daniels is worth in the league, because there's no reason keeping him prisoner until he eventually wants out. His value is at an all-time high right now. You could probably get 5 first-round picks.
He was all-time high after his rookie year.
Exactly.
He's
I could
lower
see a
now,
team.
but-
I could see it. I'm still saying. I think I could see a team giving up 5 first-rounders for him right now. That's an all-time bag if you're an NFL team. And I know it sucks. He's the guy you drafted, your franchise guy, but again, who knows if he even wants to be there in 3 years when he's a free agent and then you can't get anything for him. So I know it sucks. This is kind of the hole you've dug, and these are the uncomfortable conversations you kind of need to have. Do you have any more losers, Brooks?
No, actually, funny enough, I want to talk about the Commanders for a second.
Okay, yeah, please do. Sorry, I didn't let
No,
you.
no, no. The floor was all yours, Barron. This team, I know this doesn't count as this season, but it does because it rolled into this season. 14 months ago, Barron, 14, maybe 15 months ago, the word of the Washington Commanders was, this is from Schefter. I remember this. Like, this isn't me pulling it verbatim, but I remember this. Schefter, Rappaport, everything was, people were begging to go to the Commanders. They're like, trade me to Washington. Like, people wanted to go to Washington
And play with Jane Daniels.
and play with Jaden Daniels.
And what they do?
Let's go all the way down, because it's up to you if you count the offseason as going in as I count the offseason as the beginning of the next season.
Yeah, it's fine.
I count the Super Bowl as that's the end of this season. Everyone's not building for next season, so it counts as next season.
Yeah.
So the offseason counts as this season for me, right? Just not in terms of that take, just that was regular season in general, but let's just talk about the offseason for a second. Everybody still wanted to go to Washington, right? This team was a hot commodity. I mean, this team was like the hot cheerleader girlfriend in high school. When you're in high school and everybody and she's dating the star quarterback, that's what it was. Jaden Daniels, star quarterback, and you were looking at the hottest commodity with him. Now it's not. Now you're in the slums, and nobody wants to go there, in my opinion, anymore. So you did a complete 180. So you went from the high school quarterback most popular guy in the league to you went off to college and now you're a loser because everyone knows you're fake.
Yeah.
Boom, there you go.
Again, hindsight, 2020. We need to trademark that at this point.
It is. We should
Like you
trademark.
said, everyone wants to come to Washington. Who do they go and get? They get 32-year-old Debo Samuel, who looks about as fat as a rotisserie chicken these days, and you go and get Von Miller, who's basically looking for his retirement home. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? Yeah, like you said, you had a guy like, and I think this was the biggest thing was, obviously you have Terry McLaurin's contract extension. I'm sorry, I'm letting him walk. I'm trading him. Like, he is 38 years old, and I get he has been on Washington since he was drafted. He's a loyal guy. He wants to stay with the fan base. But like, dude, he's older than AJ Brown. He's older than CeeDee Lamb. Like, and these are guys that are pretty soon going to be on their way out of the league. So it's like, dude, you have a young quarterback who you're trying to grow and develop, but the team you've put around him is aging and decaying. So yeah, I personally would like to see Jane Daniels on a new team, obviously because he's in my division. That helps me as well, but still, I just feel like this is going to be 5 years of mismanagement. He's going to be a mid to good statistic quarterback. That's where people will probably put him during that time, and he'll never win anything. So, yeah, we'll watch his career. I want to give out one last loser. Obviously, we won't spend much time talking about it because we already did. I just want to give it the title, and that would be the Minnesota Vikings. Thinking back to it, yeah, just letting Sam Darnold walk is very offensive. Looking back at it at this point, especially when, and again, I'm not saying that Minnesota defense is as good as Seattle's, but again, if Seattle's proven anything, is that Sam Darnold can win with a good defense and good receivers around him. Maybe he needs a good running back. Minnesota didn't really have that, but I'd argue they had a much better tight end for him to throw to. So, anything else you'd like to add, Brooks? And now
We powered through this one, baby.
we got one last little tidbit to talk about, and that is what's next. What is left of this NFL season, right? You said in your eyes, season ends after the Super Bowl, off season's the start of the new season. Brooks, what is left? And before you do that, there's one more point I wanted to bring up because I keep forgetting, but it keeps popping back in my mind. And that is for the Green Bay Packers, they hired for their defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon. I actually think that is a very good hire. He's a D-line guru. I don't think if you remember when he was the Eagles defensive coordinator back in 2020, they had a record like 42 sacks as a team. And obviously we all know who's on that Green Bay defensive line from left to right. So it's going to be scary for NFC North quarterbacks if he can unlock that Green Bay defensive line. But Brooks, bring it back to you. What is left in this NFL season?
Dude, I'm crying right now. Holy crap.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Holy.
The episode
You
is
asked
that
me this
good,
question,
guys.
and I literally said the Super Bowl, and that's it. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I think it's crowning a new Super Bowl champion. To me, the offseason that's the new season. So for me, it's Pro Bowl. We're gonna talk about how shit it is after I watch it, and then the Super Bowl and the hype around it, and the color of the Gatorade, and then we're gonna talk about off season and draft time, baby. Combine and draft time.
Oh yeah. I guess my last question for you, Brooks, would be: do you expect any more coaches to be fired? Do you have any dark horses for the empty roles left? Give us a prediction for the end of the season.
I will guarantee it that Clint Kubiak goes to the Raiders. Like, guarantee it. Like, I'm so dead serious that he will be there. I don't know why I would do that. But yeah, I like him. I think Kingsbury's holding out for that head coach job, and when he doesn't land it,
I think he might take a year off.
I was gonna say the same thing. Or I was gonna say,
I just feel like if he was super serious about getting a head coaching role or even an offensive coordinator role, I think we would have seen his name a lot more in this cycle, just given his track record. So that's the only reason I keep thinking that.
yeah, I think so. And then one thing I'm looking at is, honestly, I'm looking at this season. In terms of next season, I want to see some moves happen. I want to see what the 49ers do. This team is a lot of limbo. We talk about a team that wins a lot of games this year, but what's their mentality? Are they one last push or are they giving up? Because there's a lot of teetering with that Niners team. So I'm really interested in the 49ers. I think another segment we should do is a teams we're most interested in and least interested in, like winners, losers. But for this
Perfect.
offseason, what teams are we most interested in and what teams are we least interested in?
We'll put that in the idea book. Perfect. Anything
Wow.
else you want to add?
Yeah, let me give you a little fun one.
All right.
I'll give you a little teaser at some of the takes we said. Would you want to hear a take from you first or a take from me first?
My take was just gonna be John Harbaugh taking a year off, but go for it.
No, from takes that we said earlier.
Oh
this
yeah. Go for it.
So this is just me taking stuff from the regular season,
All right.
right, and just trying to organize it. So one of the takes you said, Barron,
Mm-hmm.
is I can officially lock it down. The Rams are going to win the NFC West.
That's what I said.
Yes,
Wow. That was close.
it's not bad. This is a teaser. Teaser.
Yeah.
You did say the Dolphins are going to have the first overall pick too.
It's true.
Something that Brooks said. I'm debating if I want to go to my worst take
Too late. Let's hear it.
or my worst take.
Oh no, you don't have to do your worst one, but go for it.
We'll save that for next episode.
There you go. You gotta give them a reason to come back now.
I said this is the Packers division to lose.
I'm pretty sure I did not agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh boy, oh boy. Is this before or after the Cowboys tie?
This was before. I think this was week 2 after the Commanders when they beat them on Sunday Night Football at home.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny. All right,
So-
well, we'll have a lot more of those for you next week. We're gonna let Brooks get back in the bed.
Once I'm up, and Arsenal plays in 44 minutes. So
Yeah,
I've
turn it
really
on.
been blowing my nose.
Put it on, get back in the bed, turn the lights off, and
Literally, my trash can looks like a horny 16-year-old. Like with how many tissues are rolled up here, dude. It is so bad. Yeah. And if let me show you. I want to show you my desk, but like this is all I have to do. Ready? So I got this yesterday. I got this yesterday. I got this yesterday. My lips are getting chapped a little bit, so I got this yesterday. I got this yesterday.
what's on my desk?
So I'm more drugged up than a geek out in Baltimore. Let's see it.
Shout out.
Yo, wait, that's fire.
Yeah.
Draft NFL players? How does that work?
So it's like normal Uno,
Yeah.
but all the action cards are like NFL players. So here I can show you one. So like yeah, this one like this. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like Kaiser White, green skip. So you just like use those as those, and then there's some different action cards. Let me see if I can find.
Are there any
Okay,
different than like the ones in regular Uno or no?
Oh yeah, like there's different actions. Like there's a lot.
You
You'd
have
be
to
interested.
throw your entire deck at a player.
No, so basically how it works is there's different game modes you can have, but like you get 7 normal like Uno cards, which are like look like these, and if they have the star on them, then you can play an action card. And basically, me and my buddies, we've only played the draft mode. So basically, there's 8 rounds, and you put 8. If there's 5 players, you put 7 action cards face up. And then it's like a snake draft. Basically, you just draft your players. Who do you want based on the action, or if you just want that player or not. And then once you have your 8 action cards, because there's 8 rounds, and your 7 normal Uno cards, you keep the decks separate because you're just playing with your normal Uno cards. The action cards don't count, and you just play Uno normally, but with extra actions and such. But it's pretty cool. Like this Aaron Rodgers card. If you're playing with 3 or more people, then you can see all 3 of their decks. I know you can't see the symbol, but that's like look at some.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like it. It's a cool little twist game, and there's some like collection aspect to it because like you can get these booster packs, and there's random players like, and I'm telling you, it's not like just popular like name players either. Like you can pull the Vikings punter, or like the Seahawks kicker from 2 years ago. Like it's really cool. I really like the concept of it. So shout out
Nice.
NFL or Uno Elite. But anything else you want to add?
I had a really cool idea. So since we're kind of grinning into the off season, this is the last thing I say before we're good.
All right.
Do you have Madden 26?
Yep.
I thought of a couple ideas. Of course, we still need to do our challenge where we play each other. You've always wanted your revenge. You'll probably beat me. But I was thinking, do you know how there's a nice little series where you roll, you spin the wheel, it's like your skill positions, and it hits a team, you have to pick somebody? What if we did that with Madden, and we picked our players, and then we had the CPU play against each other? Like we did like a draft, and then our team played against each other.
Oh yeah.
Could be fun.
We could fuck with that.
We'll figure it out. Anyways,
That
we have a
works.
lot of ideas for this offseason that could be unorthodox, very orthodox.
It'll be good.
It could be fun. Could be good. So,
Stay tuned.
anything else you want to add?
No.
That'll be another episode of Nothing Agreed. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I mean, thank you. Jesus, it has been an episode. I've been getting
Our
healthier.
warrior.
Dude, I've been getting healthier by the minute, but I woke up feeling horrible.
Hey, salute to you, sir.
Let's go, baby. Barron, once again, being the king as usual, carrying it down for us. Other than that, let us know your Super Bowl takes. Let us know your winners and losers of this season. Do you agree or disagree with us?
And how excited are you for the Pro Bowl?
No one is. That'll be another episode of Nothing Agreed. Thank you so much for listening. Go back to Hawaii Pro Bowl, and peace.